Now, from the In-Quality Stand at NAB Show at the Las Vegas Convention Center, streaming live around the world, showcasing IP DTL, Hybrid, and SIP.audio. On Twitter, we're In-Quality Media. And here's your host, Kevin Leach.
Hey, it's show 6 of 6. We made it to the end. It's Wednesday. It's 11 a.m. on the Pacific Coast, and it's 2 p.m. on the eastern coast of the USA. In the UK, it's 7. I'm Kevin Leach at the Virtual NAB Show here at the Virtual Las Vegas Convention Center.
And I'm Townsend Coleman at the Virtual NAB Show booth here in my studio, in my closet at home, here in Los Angeles, California. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be around the world. Thanks for joining us today. And we're going to be talking about IP DTL. Specifically for voice actors and as for production companies as well, and animation companies and anybody who needs to even podcasts. I mean, look, ipDTL can be used for so many things, but our thrust this morning is going to be on how we use it as voice actors, and what a great solution it is for us, and it has been for me for the last 4 years. It's what I use for my sessions every single day, right here from home. So Kevin, happy Earth Day to you.
Yeah, happy Earth Day to you, Townsend. I don't know what that means, but I guess with fewer planes flying around and fewer cars driving around, the Earth is feeling better right now, yeah?
It is better and bluer and greener, I think, right now. Yeah, it maybe is one of the few good things to come out of this whole coronavirus thing, I suppose.
And if there is another good thing to come out of it, it's that people are now learning how to work from home. Voice talent are learning how to work from home. Studio producers are learning how to work from home, and maybe we'll never quite go back to how things were.
I'm wondering about that. Of course, this is the way I've been doing it for years anyway, so it doesn't feel a whole lot different for me because I'm still holed up here at home, doing my work. But for those voice actors out there who have found themselves in a real squeeze, in a real pinch now, having to work from home, there are all kinds of solutions out there, but ipDTL really gives you so much functionality built within this very simple interface. I think, Kevin, and you're seeing my interface there.
What I can do is I can drag it across so that we see it a little bit bigger as well. So anything you do on your screen, the people watching back home can see.
Okay, great. And so folks, if you happen to be a voice actor, or even if you're a producer or a production company and have been thinking about looking into ipDTL, highly, highly recommend it. It's got so much functionality built into it, and hopefully we'll try and cover most of that in this next hour here. And also give you a little sample session, how I do my sessions every day. We'll also be connecting with my good buddy, James Arnold Taylor, during the hour, and chatting with him and seeing how he uses ipDTL. He uses it all the time and loves it. And one of the really great things, so for those of you who aren't familiar with ipDTL, or have maybe heard of it but have never used it, basically what it is it utilizes the Chrome browser. It's not software based. And Kevin, you feel free to just hop in and correct me at any point along the way.
I'll be like, that's bull. That makes no sense. By the way, just whilst I did interrupt you there, let's tell people the phone number in case we want to talk, or in case people want to talk to us later. We can take some live calls, and Roger and Stuart are standing by to take those calls. The number is 323-336-6556. That's 323-336-6556.
Okay, and there you go. Yeah, so if you folks have any questions and you want to call that number, operators are standing by. So here, if you're looking at the ipDTL interface, one of the great things about it is ipDTL is not software-based, it's browser-based. So it's not proprietary software that both users have to have on both ends of the connection. It's browser-based, and it operates primarily within the Chrome browser, although there are other browsers that work. Firefox works as well, and Opera works, I think, to a certain degree. Is that right? Does it still work on Opera there, Kev?
Yeah, Opera is very similar to, it's Chromium-based. All of these browsers are based on Chromium, including Microsoft Edge now. So yeah, in theory, all of these browsers, including that, do work.
Right, and so the beauty of it is that it really doesn't matter what computer you're on, as long as you have access to the Chrome or a Chromium-based browser. You can just log into your account and you've got all your stuff sitting there right in front of you, which has come in handy for me, for instance, from time to time. When I go and visit my son in Colorado, he's a musician and has a little studio there at home, and certainly all the audio gear that I would need. And it's very easy for me to log in to ipDTL on the Chrome browser on his computer and be able to do my sessions from there, because he doesn't have to have specific software on his computer. Doesn't have to worry about having an iLock or anything like that. It's browser-based. So, and the other beauty about this, and we'll touch on this a little bit more later in the hour, but with something called Send a Link within ipDTL, which is an add-on, it's something that you can get in addition to your basic subscription package. What that does is it gives you your own dedicated URL that you can then send to anybody who doesn't have ipDTL. They simply take your link, plug it into the Chrome browser, navigate to your page, type in their name, click continue, and you'll see their name pop up in the list of destinations, which is this box right here. If you're looking at the ipDTL interface underneath our red connection box, which is how Kevin and I are connected right now. Me here in Los Angeles, and Kevin, well, ostensibly from Las Vegas, but actually
yeah, who knows where I am? Nobody really knows.
Right. And you got a great looking studio there, by the way, I should say.
Thanks.
But in this destination list right here, their name on the opposite end will pop up in that list. I simply click on their name and we're connected that quickly. So they don't even have to have ipDTL. As long as you have the ipDTL Send a Link, which gives you, again, your own dedicated URL that you can send to them, and you guys are connected, in just a matter of seconds. So for producers on the opposite end, especially nowadays, who are trying to figure out a way to hook up with voice talent, it's great with your own ipDTL account. But if you happen to be talking to a VO, a talent who has ipDTL and they have Send a Link, you just ask them for their link. You navigate to their account and simply log in, and you guys are connected. It's super simple. And the really cool thing about it is that both of you can record on either end. So the producer could be recording me on the far end. Let's say they're in Miami today and they need to do a session with me, but don't have ipDTL. I send them my link. We're connected in a matter of moments. And they can be recording me within the ipDTL browser right there on their end.
And you know what, Townsend? If anybody wants to hop on that link and prove that this evening, this afternoon, this morning, they can actually go to ipDTL.com/link/NAB. And they could hop on and we could talk to them right now. Who knows if anybody will take our invite. So it's ipDTL.com/link/NAB. It could be a bit of fun if somebody wants to hop on that link, and then we'll demonstrate how well it does or doesn't work.
I would love that, especially if somebody is a non-ipDTL user and wants to try it for the very first time. go ahead and take that link that Kevin just gave you, and Kev, you might want to repeat it one more time, and then hook up to the account here. We'll see your name pop up in the destination list right here. I'll click on it, or Kevin will click on it, and we'll hook up with you and show you just how easy that connection can be made. Okay.
Yeah. So you add on to ipDTL.com, which is our normal website. You add on /link/NAB, because we're pretending to be at the NAB show. ipDTL.com/link/NAB.
There you go. There you go. You know, Kev, if you wouldn't mind, I would love to show the folks at home here how to actually sign up for ipDTL.
Sure.
And we'll just step through this kind of quickly. I'm going to share my other screen here with you so that you can actually see. So here's the screen that you would see if you just go to ipDTL.com. And the very easy way, the easiest really way to sign up for this is click on Get ipDTL up here. And it takes you to a wizard that you can step through each of these questions if you don't know what you're looking for. And conversely, you can also skip this wizard and go straight to the subscription page. And that will show you this. And what I use typically the silver package. And the reason for that, the difference between these three basic levels of subscription, the bronze, silver, and gold, are a number of features, but the primary feature is how many remote destinations you can connect with at one time. So with bronze here, you can connect with only one. Silver allows you to connect with 2 remote destinations simultaneously, and I'll tell you why that can be handy. And gold allows you to connect with 4 destinations simultaneously. And this is actually coming in very handy right now with some animation producers and studios who are really sort of having fits and starts trying to figure out how to get all their actors in one room, which of course they can't do right now. But with an ipDTL Gold subscription, they can get 4 actors online, connected to each other simultaneously, all hearing each other while they record all 4 actors on their end remotely. So the Gold subscription is really a terrific way for producers to be able to go now. But the Silver subscription allows you to connect to 2 remote destinations simultaneously. So you pick your level of subscription there. You pick your login ID, which as a voice actor, you will typically only need 1 login ID. Send a link is what I was describing a moment ago, where you get your own dedicated URL that you can send to people and they can link up with you in no time. And you just click yes there. You want that. Now, what tell is tell, and this, to be honest, Kevin, is what hooked me on ipDTL in the very beginning about 4 years ago, because I had ISDN service through AT&T for about 22 years. And used it for all my network sessions. And at the time was doing sessions with ABC. And of course, they were all on ISDN. And I had been looking to get rid of my ISDN lines for years because at the time I was paying over $600 a month just to have the ISDN service through AT&T. And I thought, there's got to be a better way than this. And when a friend of mine had suggested I look at ipDTL, I went on the ipDTL website and saw that it said, connect with an ISDN, right there on the splash page. And I thought, well, that sounds a little too good to be true. It makes it sound like I could just do it right from within ipDTL. So I signed up for a month and found out that that is indeed what it means. It's a bit of alchemy that you and your partner Thomas have created here. But boy, it works brilliantly. And so I started using it, used it for about 3 or 4 months before I finally was comfortable enough to actually give up my ISDN lines and service after all those years. And so I called AT&T and had them cancel my subscription, my ISDN service, on the 4th of July, of that year of what was that 2016, and that was my ISD Independence Day.
Brilliant.
How I think of it.
That never gets old. I love it.
It doesn't.
But isn't it funny that, or isn't it great that since then, a few years ago when you said, this is just an interim period, this is a transitional period, people didn't believe you, but it really is happening now, isn't it? ISDN does now feel like something from the past rather than something that we're still transitioning from.
Yeah, and it feels like, that train is starting to speed up toward its final destination now, and it's going to go crashing right through the back end of that station house.
Yeah, well, of course, all the studio engineers are now working from home where they don't have ISDN lines, so if nothing else, that's a catalyst, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And, for those engineers who need to connect with more than one talent at a time, they're hard pressed to find many solutions out there that will do what ipDTL will do. And that's the brilliance of it. So that allowed me to get rid of my ISDN altogether. I still do ISDN sessions from time to time. And when I need to, it's very simple. I can have my own dedicated ISDN numbers, which you can order right here back to the subscription page. TEL, by the way, is how you would simply choose TEL here as part of your subscription. And that allows you to receive unlimited ISDN calls and connections. And if you need to place ISDN calls, you choose TEL plus any of these numbers, and that allows you that number of hours per month allotted to you for outgoing calls during that month. But if all you need to do is receive ISDN calls, then a simple TEL will get you that. And you can get your own Los Angeles ISDN numbers here, which will not change once you get them. You just order them by dialing them up there. And say you want your own studio telephone number that also rings within ipDTL, you would order that right there with a 1. And then over here, you'll see what your monthly cost will be. But also notice that if you pay annually, that number, if you were to take that monthly number, multiply by 12 and see what you would be spending over the course of a year, there's a hefty discount that Kevin offers you by paying annually, and you just pay for a year up front by clicking annual. So that's really it. That's how you sign up. As far as the features you need, those are it. I typically will tell a voice actor I would recommend silver, although bronze is certainly
it's adequate.
Oh, certainly adequate. Yeah. But it allows you to only connect with one remote destination at a time, which for most voice actors is going to be sufficient. However, I will say that right now, I'm very thankful that I've got the silver, because what it allows me to do. So here's a very practical, real world situation that I find myself in now because of the coronavirus and the quarantine, having to be here at home, is that my daily session that I do for Live with Kelly and Ryan, I voice their daily promos. I normally do with a production house here called Studio City. And I work with an audio guy named Brian Peters, BP, we call him, and then the producer over there is Bailey Whitehead, and they're typically sitting in the edit bay over there at Studio City when we do our sessions. So I connect with them. It's just a two-way link up between our two computers. And they've got ipDTL. I have ipDTL. We have our login IDs linked, and it's just a click of a button, and we're talking to each other. Now, the problem with now, of course, is that BP is doing his audio stuff from his apartment here in town, and Bailey is producing these spots from her apartment here in town. So the three of us are in 3 separate locations where we're usually in only 2 separate locations. So now, in order to be able to hook up with both of them simultaneously, I just log into Studio City's hook up with their account the way I usually do. But then BP has Bailey hook up with him also. And so then he is sort of the hub of that V, or the point of that V, if you will. So he's got one connection going to me and one connection going to Bailey. And the three of us can continue to do our work just as if they were both at work. And so it's very, very convenient now for us to be able to, all three of us, hook up, where with other systems, it would be a little more difficult to try and pull that off. So I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and hook up with BP right now, just give you a sample of how I would do my session right here from home over IP DTL. So I'm going to click on Studio City Audio A right here, and that will hook us up with Brian Peters over at Studio City. You'll also notice now up in the connection box up here, in the red connection box, that we will have two connections going simultaneously. We've got Kevin in the UK, and we've got BP over here. I believe you're in North Hollywood. BP,
yes, I am. Hey, Townsend, I'm doing all right.
All right.
Hey, BP, it's Kevin here at the Virtual Las Vegas Convention Center. It's great to talk to you again.
Great to talk to you. How's the show floor?
It's smaller than I remember it, funnily enough. But it's been a great week. We've had a lot of fun here, but in some ways, I'm kind of glad it's the end, because it's been quite a busy week all around. But never mind that. And just to be clear, I am connected from here to Townsend. That's why I'm hearing Townsend. Townsend has now connected from his ipDTL instance to you. So the only reason you and I are able to have a two-way conversation like this is because we're going via Townsend's computer, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, so the way it works for me every day is this is how we hook up. And Bailey would be also on the line with us during a normal day here at home. And I read my scripts right off my computer screen, and we're going to look back at a promo that we did, about a month ago or so. And the way we work it is BP just plays it's a 20-second spot. He's going to play the spot down for me, and the voice that you'll hear on there actually is the editor of the spot. And I listen to that just for timing purposes, and so I can get a sense of where the spot's going. And then he drops the scratch out, and I do my thing. So BP, you want to play that down for us?
Sure. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Next live, Scarlett Johansson plus Olivia Rodrigo from High School Musical, the series, and writer, actor, director Tyler Perry.
Are you good at math?
Yeah, we were counting money. Yeah, really good.
All righty. Now, I should also say for anybody who's never seen one of these sessions done, is you'll notice that we're not seeing the picture, and I'm not seeing the picture on my computer screen. BP has the picture on his screen at his place, of course, but I don't need to see it. I just take all my cues as audio cues. So, BP, whenever you're ready, let's go ahead and roll one, shall we?
All right, here we go.
Mm-hmm. Next live, Scarlett Johansson, plus Olivia Rodrigo from High School Musical, the series, and writer, actor, director Tyler Perry.
Are you good at math?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that seemed to lay in there pretty well. Do you need to?
I think so.
Do any?
I think that might be that could be a one take. Do you want me to play it back for you?
I got lucky again. Yeah, go ahead and play it back if you will.
Playing it back for you.
Next live, Scarlett Johansson, plus Olivia Rodrigo from High School Musical, the series, and writer, actor, director Tyler Perry.
Are you good at math?
Yeah, we were counting money. Yeah, really good.
All right. And so, buddy, you'll just go ahead and turn that around and stick it right on the airwaves, right?
That's right.
Just as simple
Out it goes.
Just as simple as that, yeah. So how are you guys over at Studio City you're using IP DTL, obviously, in this sense. And because this is basically what you guys do you find that you use it in any other ways? Do you ever have an opportunity to, or a need, for instance, other than in these pandemic times, to be able to connect with two destinations at a time?
Yeah, particularly when some of our producers are actually off-site. Sometimes the creative director wants to chime in as well. So there might be the like we were talking about Bailey, the producer. She would be sitting with me in the room. But there might be a time when the creative director that is in New York, this is a show that tapes in New York, they might want to get on and listen too. We've had, I don't know if we've had a chance to do that with you, but there's been some other shows we've done that with, where it's worked out very, very well to have both the group in the room as well as the producer who might be at the studio with the showrunners there to be able to chime in.
Right. And I should also point out that within ipDTL, here I could just show you right quick. I can click this dial pad right here, and I can dial out to a landline or a cell phone here in the United States and get a producer on their phone if they wanted to do a phone patch or maybe do an approval over the phone. But oftentimes what I will do is I will in many instances actually suggest that they connect with us using my send a link. Say they're at home and they're on their laptop. All they got to do is stick a pair of earbuds in, and they can hear us as if they're in the studio with us, clear across the country or clear, around the world, regardless of where they are, as if they're in the studio with us rather than over the phone. And so I call it the glorified phone patch, but it really is a brilliant solution for being able to do that. So back to my destination list here. BP, thanks so much, dude. Any other thoughts about how ipDTL has been working for you? I know you guys have been using it for about 4 years or so as well, because I found out about it from you guys. So,
I think that this ability to have, like we were talking about that Y connection, have, the producer who is now no longer in the room, being able to be on the phone rather than doing some clunky phone patch or holding up a speaker phone to the speakers in front of you. It's been great. It has been great. I've been sharing it with, with all of our team, and to be able to have people on, not having to be sitting in the room or, like I said, listening it through a speaker phone or something clunky, it has been a real valuable asset. Right.
Well, thanks, buddy. Thanks. I get to talk to you every single day, but this has been a treat to be able to show the folks out there just how simple it is for me to do a session at home, for anybody to be able to do a session at home. Yeah. So thanks, dude. We're going to move along here and hook up with some other folks. But no doubt. I will talk to you later this afternoon, and we'll do our thing for real.
Right on. It's been fun. Thanks, guys.
Okay, brother. Thanks.
Bye, Brian.
Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Now, Townsend, bit of social media action coming in here. Michelle Mendoza says, with my gold subscription and one tel, how do I have someone phone into me for recording? Well, we kind of touched on that, didn't we? That if you go to, and I'll show you on my screen, that when you log into ipDTL, and I'm on the hybrid layout at the moment because I'm using it for potentially taking phone calls. When I go to admin and manage subscription, I can scroll down to this part of the page. So I've gone to admin in the footer. I've gone manage subscription. I can then go down here and add a phone number. Once I've added a phone number and I've modified my account, I can then go and choose a phone number. So I modify like that. When I go to account admin on the left here, you can see now that I've got the option to assign a phone number. When I click that, I can put in a US area code, and it actually gives me a load of numbers that I can choose from and assign to my account. Townsend, back to you.
Yeah, well, you know what? I've got a buddy who just did this, ordered 2 dedicated ISDN numbers and his own phone number because he's got a podcast that he does with his brother and sister. Now, he's here in town. His brother is in, I want to say he's in Florida. It's on the other side of the country somewhere. His sister is in Michigan. The 3 of them are going to be the podcast hosts, but they also want lines open for callers to call in. And they also want to be able to record everything, split tracked, no less, which you can do all within ipDTL. So he's got the gold subscription, can connect to 4 remote destinations at a time, and he's thrilled with this. And what's great is, and tell me if I'm wrong here, Kev, but my understanding is that if he's got one caller calling in on his phone number, not his ISDN line, that's a whole different thing, but on his phone number, and then somebody else tries to call in on that phone number as well, he can just bring that second caller in up on the next available remote destination. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it could be two. He could take 2 calls to his phone number, or it could be a phone call and somebody on a link, or it could be another ipDTL user using their SIP address, or it could be an ISDN call. So you can mix and match these things.
James Arnold Taylor is with us today. You can see his name here in our destination list as well. We're going to connect with him and see what JT is up to. And as it rings, I love this little ringing bell icon you got there, you and Kevin.
Well, hello.
Well, there he is. JT, how are you, brother?
I'm doing great. How are you?
All right, man.
Hey, and Townsend. Hey, and hi, James. It's Kevin here, and I can't help but interrupt all the time. Townsend, why don't you go ahead and make him full screen? So if you click the above where you see James, click on there you go. You've got it, and then you can also click the full screen icon, which is the second from the right.
This guy.
There you go, and then I can get you nicely side by side.
Well, I think what's going to happen is if this goes full screen, it's going to take up my whole screen.
You're right, Townsend. Well, what we want is the. Oh, there you go. Perfect. But does it?
Is that it?
Well, or do the. Well, it works for me. Or do the one next to it, and then it will just fill your browser.
There you go.
Fill your boots.
Mm-hmm. All right. JT, how are you, brother?
I love all this technology happening, making it easy for all of us to continue to do what we do. I've been watching the show and listening, and, it is just such an exciting time to have all this technology at our fingertips, quite literally. And I just think, especially for animation, as you were talking about before, it's so crucial. My big thing right now is to get every studio in Los Angeles to understand that if they want to do an animation session right now, ipDTL is the absolute way to go, because you can record multiple actors together just like we were in the booth. So I'm hoping that everybody's hearing that and just starting to get going with that, because it's really an important factor to doing what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, JT, you've done some sessions, animation sessions, ipDTL, and I know it works for you. It's worked for me. I did a session last week that was a good solid 2 hours long. And I think one of the important things that we should tuck in right here is that it's really critical, it's important, let's put it that way, to have your computer, whether it's laptop or desktop, hooked in, hardwired to Ethernet and not using Wi-Fi, okay?
Yep.
Just for the stability of it, to take that Wi-Fi link out of the chain. But yeah, I did a session. It was a solid 2 hours and not a hiccup, during the entire time. And that was including two-way video within ipDTL.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that is fantastic. That's another thing that's really exciting about it, is the possibility of video. The funny thing is, I've been patching into studios for a couple decades now, whether it be ISDN or what have you. And nobody ever wanted video before. But now, because of the virus and such, all this happening where everybody's on, Zoom or Skype or whatever, they're used to now seeing us.
Right.
So I love the fact that if somebody's like, well, I'd really like to be able to see you, it's like, well, then just ipDTL is going to work. And that is the beautiful thing of all of this technology coming together into one extremely easy, user-friendly way of doing things. And that's what's so important.
Yeah, yeah. And again, going back to the send-a-link, in a producer's situation or an animation studio situation, if they had an ipDTL Gold account, Gold subscription, they would have a video along with their subscription and the ability to hook up with 4 distinct actors in separate locations, all at the same time, be able to record them all on the built-in 4-track recorder.
Yeah, that is so important. And then isolated tracks, and then everybody on their end, on their little mixer, just hits record on the play record selection, and they are recording their own track as well as a backup, because every studio always goes, well, if you could record a backup, that'd be great. Well, now it's built in when you're doing it with ipDTL. That, I mean, you don't need to have Twisted Wave up. You don't need to have Pro Tools up. You're just hitting record there. You've got your instant backup. You choose this, the quality, wave file, and you're set. How easy is that?
Yeah, no fooling. So have you had a chance to talk to some of these animation directors and producers?
That's really my thing. Again, and I'm sending people this way to watch the video here now as well. And I want to do some other videos just showing them how simple it is so they all just get it. Because, once people get it in their head, oh, now I can get my whole cast together. Well, it's going to change the way we do all of this because we don't know how long we're going to be on lockdown. But also, I'm going to guess that from this point on, we are going to be in a remote world. And it is going to be very important to be able to have something as simple as ipDTL to just hook up. I like that I can say simple, and Kevin knows all of the absolute complexities that he's had to do to make this thing happen to be so simple. But for all of us, it's simple.
Right. Kevin's shaking his head right now over there in the UK going, are you kidding? You guys, this is not simple on my end. But
I can't take the credit for making ipDTL as magical as it is. Thomas, my business partner and a very good colleague, is the guy who's actually made this work. I just sit here and answer the support questions.
Well, way to go, though.
It's a little more than that. Yeah, you're the brainiac. The two of you are brainiacs. JT and I, we're just the dumb voice actors.
You just give us a script and we'll make words sound pretty. That's all. Yeah.
That's right. You just show me the words. I'll try not to step on them. Well, JT, it's great to see you, buddy. I noticed you've got a particular action figure over there standing behind you.
Little Obi-Wan Kenobi, yes.
Yes.
So I've been the voice of Obi-Wan for 18 years for Star Wars and Clone Wars and all the TV series and animated shows, the video games and stuff. And so old Obi-Wan and I, we hang out here in the studio and nobody else is here and I talk to myself. So it's quite fun.
Yeah. Well, when all this quarantining nonsense is over, you and I will get together and we're going to start putting together some of these videos and how-to videos to show how easy this stuff is for specifically like some of these animation producers and directors and studio owners.
And again, the beauty of this, here's another very important factor right now that is going on. While voice actors are scrambling to put their studios together, if the studio has a gold account, then they're just sending a link to the actor. The actor is then not having to have, a full subscription to anything or a subscription to anything at all in any way. I mean, I would love them to be an ipDTL subscriber, but they don't even have to be if the studio has their gold account and can just link them in. So, that's a really important factor for actors as well, to start saying to studios, let's get ipDTL in there because I know that then we can send it off to whoever is just able to patch in with us. That is unlike anything else out there right now, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, and I'm in a situation right now where I do a long-running radio drama and called Adventures in Odyssey, and the folks who produce that are considering, since they can't come to town and record now, are looking at ipDTL to be able to get 4 of their actors at their home studios together now to be able to do it. Otherwise, they would be stuck with having to just record each of us wild and then try and stitch all of that together, which I know is happening with a lot of the animation producers right now.
Exactly.
Which is, making their heads explode.
Yeah, so a simple solution, getting 4 actors down as opposed to 4 separate sessions, that much longer studio time, all of that. It's going to help with costs, but it's also going to help with the flow and the conversation and the ability to make things sound as natural as they would any other time. And so that is why I think it's such an important tool, and every studio really should have it. There's no reason to not have it. I mean, I have it here in my home studio. I've had it as long as I've known about it here for several years. I have a silver account. I love the silver account. It makes it easy. I have assigned an ISDN number as well. So if I am doing on the road, I do stuff for Fox and they still patch in via ISDN. So I can do that there. I can do that here. I just give them my ISDN number, and it's a single number, actually. They dial it twice. They get me right there, just like if I had an ISDN number before. And it's fantastic. So I love the simplicity of it.
Yeah, and you just mentioned about going on the road. That's the beauty of this for me, too, because even with, it's one thing being able to hook up computer to computer, ipDTL to ipDTL, on the road. But of course, you're not going to schlep your ISDN box along with you on the road.
I used to
do that.
And that's why I have to thank Kevin, because now I can actually go on vacation. I couldn't go anywhere.
So true.
And now I can go somewhere.
Right. Yeah, the old golden handcuffs aren't locked quite as tightly as they used to be.
That's right.
And it's that ability to be able to hook up to ISDN from the road without external bridging. And that additional cost per half hour, that used to cost, and the added delay and latency and all that, that.
As grateful as I am for the ability to bridge in and have that extra number, I also look forward, as you guys were talking about earlier, to a time where it's just not even a factor anymore, because, it does add extra, delay and such to that, but it just would make it so much easier if it's just straight ipDTL to ipDTL. And I know we're getting there. So I look forward to that time.
Yeah. Kevin had mentioned this earlier, and you just touched on it as well, that, when this, all this quarantining is over and the pandemic is over-ish, and we're all starting to go back, out there and get back to our normal work days. It's going to be curious to see what it looks like as opposed to the way it used to be before, where we were all going out, to how much of this is being done from home now, because now that we know how well it works, and we've known that ipDTL works great, for years, but the producers and those people who are new to it now and are just discovering it and working this way now for the first time, realizing, oh my gosh, this really works. This is crazy. Why don't we do it this way all the time?
Yeah, I send a link and I click and that's it. And I see their name there. I have the mixer. I have the recording. Why not? Yeah.
Right. And the producer or the writer or, the director, decides, wait a second, I don't have the golden handcuffs anymore. I can go on vacation and I can still do it from France.
Exactly right. And that's what I've been actually telling people for years now, is that the ease of use, if they're just on their telephone, and I've had sessions like that too, where I've got one person on the phone, I've got the other person on the ISDN patch, and it's just working seamlessly and everybody's hearing each other beautifully. And the best thing I love about it is they're getting the feed from my microphone. So they're not hearing from a computer mic or a phone mic or an iPad mic. They're getting the real true feed.
Yeah, right. So with the headphones on their end, they're hearing you as if they're in the studio with you. Right. Actually, even better, because they've got their headphones on, not even coming through speakers. It's crazy. Yeah. So, I mean, I've done sessions in the past where I would be hooked up with a studio in New York doing ISDN through my ipDTL, hooked up with them ISDN, the producers in Miami, and I've got them hooked in through my Send-A-Link, and all three of us hear each other fine. They're recording me over ISDN in New York City.
Exactly.
And,
I've done sessions. That's the most of them are usually through the Send-A-Link. But I've had, situations where somebody's on the phone as well, and they're like, wow, this was beautiful. And that's what I love about it, is that it actually helps with not having to do as many pickups too, because if they're like, oh, I think we got a hit in the line or whatever, it's like, no, I heard it. I heard what you're hearing. And so they know and they can hear it all better.
Yep. Yeah. Well, JT, thank you so much for joining us today, brother. Look forward to seeing you again soon for reals. And have a great day. You got any more work coming up today?
Yeah, you guys do the same. Thanks so much. As Obi-Wan Kenobi would say, may the force be with you always.
Thank you, James.
Always. Thank you.
All right,
brother. Okay.
Bye-bye.
We'll talk to you. Bye-bye.
Quick look at the social media stuff then, Townsend. Isn't James great? I can listen to him.
Oh, he's a treasure.
Day. John Burry says, hey, Townsend. That's it. Jim Kipping says, greetings from Austin. Dave says, hi, sir. It's D from DNC Digital. Hope you're doing well. We heard from Michelle earlier. Marie Hoffman says, wonderful, Townsend. I had the honour of interviewing Mr. Coleman twice, says Dave. Such a surreal experience standing next to him. You've got a fanboy there. He can tell you, I got so nervous before it got started. That's Dave Vargas. I hope I said your name right.
Yeah, I know D. Yeah, sure, for sure, yeah.
And Peter McHugh says, hi, Townie. And Lana Young says, thanks for this. Hi from New York. Keep the comments coming.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, if anybody else wants to try hooking up with us, I see we have Lana Young here.
It looks like she's grayed out, so she must be talking to Stuart or Roger, who I guess are just checking the technicals with her and lining her up. So, yeah, let's hopefully talk to her in a few minutes.
Got it. Okay. So what you're looking at here is the ipDTL interface. This is the mixer tab, and you'll see this is my channel going out, and this is Kevin's channel coming in on remote fader 3 here, and remote B would be our second connection coming in if I connect with somebody there as well. And that's how you get 2 connections going at once. Up here, I have the ability to go to 1x remote and 4x remote, which is what you would see if you had the gold account. It actually shows you a total of about, I want to say like 9 faders across here. You've got actually 2 inputs, 1 playback, 4 remote destinations, and then the outgoing stuff. Down here where it says sample rate 48,000 hertz, you just want to make sure that your system setting is set to 48K and not 44.1 or any other thing in there. And you will also have your own SIP address and SIP number. And if you have send a link, your send a link URL will show up right there. This is the recorder. I want to show you the recorder that's built into this. Some multi-track. In the case of the Silver account, it's a 3-track recorder, and each of these tracks I can route any of my sends here in the mixer to any of the tracks here in the recorder. So local would be me. I put myself on track 1. On number 2, I put remote A. And on track 3, I would put remote B. And if I hit this red button right up here in the green bar, it'll get all 3 tracks recording simultaneously. And conversely, I could also hit each one of these buttons individually on the tracks themselves. So here, this is me recording. It looks like that. You won't see a waveform forming at the time, but you will see once it stops, and I click that button again.
All right, okay, yeah, I was just going to say I could talk, and then my voice would appear on the remote track.
Yeah, so I'll record Kevin right here, and
here
so
I
Kevin's
am.
talking
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And that's Kevin right there. And you can see that they're split tracked, so there's no bleed between them. They're completely isolated, which is brilliant. And if we were recording simultaneously, if I had all 3 tracks going simultaneously, when I hit stop, I have the choice of being able to download these tracks as a multi-channel wave, or each of these tracks individually. I can record, or rather download each of these tracks as an individual track, and then plug them right into Pro Tools, line them up, sync them up, and boom, I'm off and running. The beauty of this recorder is that the remote destination, if I had, let's say I had BP still on the line here, or JT on the line, and they had used my link, they would be able to record themselves on their end, or record me on their end as well. This same recorder that you see here on my end, you will see on the remote end as well. And that's just a brilliant feature too, to be able to, as JT was saying a moment ago, to be able to run a backup.
Yeah. Hey, Townsend, sorry to interrupt you, but we've got a call through here. It's okay. D in Texas. So on my hybrid screen here, which is a version of ipDTL for talk shows, I'm going to fade it in. Hey, D.
Hey, guys. How you doing today?
Cool.
D.
Talk to Townsend.
How are you, brother? Yeah.
I'm good, sir. I'm very, very good. I just wanted to call and just say out loud publicly that I like I said in the comments, I had the honor of interviewing Mr. Coleman twice, and it's funny because all the people that I've interviewed over the years, he's still the one that I got starstruck over.
Well, obviously.
Well, let me just explain here. D has his own podcast. Is a very gracious young man and a fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we met at a Comic-Con down in the almost the southernmost tip of Texas, and that was last year. And so I appreciate that, D. It's very kind of you to say.
No, definitely, and it's really cool because since I now follow your social media accounts, now I've come across this company, and I was just telling the gentleman that screened the call that I do want better quality sound on my podcast because, I mean, you mentioned at that time when we were doing the interview that I did it over my phone, and I still do. I don't really have the means to, to buy all the equipment necessary, but the sound quality is so great, and I really want to look into this company and the software that you have.
Yeah, Dee, let me just say that, first of all, it's not software. It's just using the Chrome browser and signing up for an IP DTL account and getting a subscription through them. But as far as gear goes, dude, there are so many just great, simple USB mics out there that you can just plug that into your laptop and with a pair of headphones, and that you're off and running, man. You're good to go. So don't be thinking that you gotta, buy a whole lot of gear or expensive gear, because you just plain don't. Okay. So Ed, thanks for the call. I really appreciate it. It's good to hear your voice again, and take care.
Yeah, you too, guys. Thanks so much. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Thanks, D. You bet. Bye, buddy. Oh, what a treat. Yeah, it was nice to meet him at that Comic-Con down in South Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley last year. Very cool. So let's see, Kev. So we hit the mixer, we hit the player recorder here. Cool little feature here with this script editor. Now, I will say that this is not something I ever use, but it's a way of being able to share scripts back and forth. It's dynamic in real time. So if you have a producer on one end and you're the VO talent on the other end, and they're making changes in the script, you can see it right there in front of your eyeballs as they make those changes on the fly. This again is our video. Although we're not seeing anything right now, but this is, if you had the gold account, video is included in your gold subscription, and that's where you would see that. Trying to think as well, shortcuts, you can make these great dialing shortcuts. I made an ISDN dialing shortcut for myself that shows up in my list of destinations. I should say that what you're seeing right here on the screen is for today's purposes only, but you would see the word ISDN right there, and I click on that, and I'm connected to the ISDN box within a matter of seconds. And then an ISDN user on the other end can dial that box and my number, and we're connected, doing an ISDN session from within IP DTL. I just want to touch on this real quick. This link icon right up here allows you to link your login IDs between two IP DTL users, so you don't even have to send links back and forth. I would link Studio City's login ID, which is something that I've done, and they show up in this drop-down menu right here, or would show up in that drop-down. Well, like you see them right here. They would show up in that drop-down. I'd click on that, and they see my name pop up in their destination list, and they click on my name, and we're connected. One thing I also want to touch on very briefly, Kev, is over here on the left-hand side of the screen is where you, as a voice actor, will be picking your send audio. So you will pick it from this drop-down menu right here. And you can also set your outgoing bandwidth. And then from receive audio, you would, in this drop-down, choose how you're going to hear. So typically it would be your USB device in and out. And then if you've got that gold subscription...
And I note there, Townsend, if I can get my words out, that you're only sending at 96 kilobits per second on the send bit rate there, right? And this determines how much data you send, and therefore the audio fidelity. But it's worth noting, isn't it, that people who push it up to 256 or whatever, I've got to get the best quality. One, you're potentially jeopardizing the connection because you're pushing too much data across what at the moment is already a very pressured internet connection, but also it works perfectly well at 96. And I mean, is that what you generally use for your sessions?
It's what I use all the time. And as a matter of fact, Kevin, when I first signed up for ipDTL 4 years ago, I was on the bronze account, and back in those days, that number topped out at 72K back then. And And it worked fine for me. I never got a single complaint about audio quality or the lack of resolution or anything. Nobody knew. And so I could drop that down even further if I wanted. You can't change it while you're on a connection, but I could drop that down a little further if I wanted, but I just leave it at 96. But yes, you're right. These people who drive it all the way up to, 256 and, think I've got to get the best quality, it's just not necessary because as you were explaining earlier this morning, talking about the Opus codec, it's so efficient, isn't it? It's it really is a brilliant way of sending audio back and forth.
You're not comparing apples to apples if you say, well, we always used 128 with ISDN, and therefore we must use at least 128 here. It's the same bandwidth, but you get a lot more bang for your buck with Opus.
Right. Okay. So I see Lana. Do we still have a few minutes, or I know we're a little over time here?
The great thing with the internet is that it never closes. So yeah, you go ahead.
Great. Well, let's connect with Lana. I'm going to click on her name here, and Lana, are you there?
I'm here. Hi.
Hi. Yay. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm surprised to be a surprise guest on your show.
Well,
we're surprised too.
Yeah, thanks for connecting with us through the link. Okay. Where are you located?
I'm in New York.
Great. Okay, and are you a voice actor?
I am, and right now I'm speaking through my computer because I can't get my microphone connected to this, which is why maybe I'm on here.
All right. Well, maybe I'll have to connect with you later and just help you walk through that. But
that would be awesome.
Yeah, but because I've been doing a lot of that recently, getting other voice actors hooked up and squared away with IP DTL so that they can do their work from home. Yeah.
Amen to that. Amen.
Yeah. So, are you an IP DTL subscriber, or is this new to you?
I just started today.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Welcome, Lana. Great to have you on board.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome aboard. This is great. So as you can tell, it's a pretty simple layout and a pretty simple system to use. Kevin has all kinds of great educational and tutorial videos up on his YouTube channel. Kev, do you want to plug that and where folks can find that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's simply, if you search YouTube for the hashtag connect inequality, all typed as one word in a hashtag, search that on YouTube and you'll find our channel. Don't forget to subscribe.
Great. Okay. And Lana, I'm guessing that you were having some sample rate issues earlier before we were able to hook up with you. Is that right?
Yes. And in fact, I was able to start with my microphone on, and then after fiddling with it a bit, it's not registering at all. So that's why I'm on my computer mic.
For the time being, but yeah, go ahead.
For the time being, yes. I have been doing the videos, and then I found you guys on this show, so I decided to just watch, or listen rather,
and be a part of.
Well,
obviously.
Listen, Lana. After we come off air, Townsend, as he says, has been great at helping people with these things. So why don't you get in touch? Support at ipDTL.com, and we can put you in touch with Townsend. Thanks to Roger and to Stuart, who've been great behind the scenes and indeed in front of the scenes this week. Thanks to everybody who's been involved in our live streams from our virtual Las Vegas Convention Center for our virtual NAB show. Let's do it again sometime, maybe in reality. That's it for now. Thanks, Townsend. Bye-bye.